But we're third there. If we can get to be second or first in the Dominican Republic, then I'll be happy. That's my new goal.
That's your new goal?
That's
to be top 2 in the Dominican Republic.
Top 2 in the Dominican Republic.
I don't think we're going to pass Russ. Oh, yeah, that's right. The number 2 pod in the Dominican Republic is back once again. I hope we're number 2 this week still.
Well, we were number 3 when we discussed it before.
We were 3, sorry.
And the goal was to get
to number 2. Sorry, I can't even listen right. Jeez, all right. Either way, I guess it's good. I mean, I don't know. Dominican still is on the same island as Haiti, right? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, let's not get into geography right off the bat.
They didn't live. Haiti doesn't love us. It's only on one side of the island.
I don't know if we get statistics from Haiti.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
But I did check because I knew Pete was going to run that soundbite.
Right.
Check.
And what happened? What'd you find?
I wanted to get into the top 2 for Chris Simms Unbuttoned in the Dominican Republic.
Yes.
We are now in the top 2
in
the Dominican Republic.
One more person listened.
But here's the deal. Number 1 currently, not Russ.
Right.
He's dropped down. I don't know what happened. Had a bad podcast. Or made a couple errors. They've lost now.
How did we now become 1 then? Who jumped us?
Football as radio.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
But that's soccer.
That's soccer.
I can deal with that.
So we technically are the number 1 American football podcast right now currently in the Dominican Republic.
Eat it, Russell. Eat it, Russell Wilson. You got nothing on me. Nothing on Ahmed Fareed. We run that show.
We do run that show, and it just makes me happier than it should, right? You know what I mean? This makes me very happy, and I feel like the rest of this podcast should be celebratory.
Okay.
Where we just kind of talk about all the great memories we've had over the years.
Right.
Great guests we've had, but we're number 1 now in the Dominican Republic.
Okay, we can rest easy this week.
We can rest easy.
Yes.
And we're going to go even higher in other countries because this podcast, they're usually meaty. I'm going to tell you what. They're usually meaty, a lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah.
But we have so many topics that we're going to get through, and you looked at these games.
I've looked at a lot.
I don't know. That had to be all you were doing.
It is. It's all I've been doing for the last 2 days, for the most part.
Not talk to your family at all. So here's the rundown, real quick version. Yeah. It's the what the F happened on Wednesday. You're going to look at Brady.
Right.
Is he really back? What's going on there? You're going to look at Cam. Why is he all messed up? You're going to look at the 49ers offense a little bit there, too, within that game. And then we're going to focus on some quarterbacks here. Baker and Burrow, you look deep into them.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you who you'd rather pick now going forward.
Yep.
I requested Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
We got to, as a Detroit Lions fan, you don't get many opportunities throughout the year.
That's why you wore blue today.
That's why I wore blue today.
Yeah.
You're going to look at your guy, Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
We're going to take a quick look at him, what he's doing still, and Justin Herbert. Deeper look on Justin Herbert. How good is he? How much is a function of who they're playing? How much of it is a function of that team?
Yep.
And at the end of it, this is why it's so meaty. It's like taking me a long time to get through the intro part of it. Trevor, top pick power rankings, back. And because it was so popular when we did the NFC East Superteam, I put together my NFC West Superteam.
All right, so this is going to be our thing. Every time you're on the pod, we're going to do another division, right?
Deal.
All right, deal. Because I actually am very interested, and let's have a playoff as we go throughout. See, maybe include some fan voting. I'm interested to see what team actually is the best. Does it have an inkling to maybe give us a clue of who we can see succeeding in the playoffs or anything like that as far as teams, conferences, divisions? I am interested in that. I mean,
I was surprised in making this one for the NFC West how many players from one team were on the team.
Right.
Because you figure it's like such a strong division. You got a lot from every team. Not necessarily.
Well, I could see that. I think we might have some arguments, too, probably about a few. You probably had to leave a few guys off where you're like, damn, I had to leave him off.
I had to give us 3 linebackers on that team, too.
Yeah, well.
And 2 corners because it just didn't make sense.
All right. Well, maybe we have to reorchestrate, too. Maybe we have to make it a 3-4 team, or we'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Each division maybe has their own defense.
Their own little unique style of play, right.
All right, so let's get into the first part of it here, and we're starting with Tom Brady and what they did against the Raiders. And, I was kind of hoping this was going to be a closer game because I think the Raiders do actually do some good things, but just defensively they could not stop Tom Brady. And so specifically we're going to look at his first 2 touchdowns because I think the first touchdown is really interesting in 2 respects because it's like, wow, Tom Brady, he's back. He's doing stuff we haven't seen in a few years. And then here's Rob Gronkowski, who started off this year incredibly slow. And now you're thinking, okay, maybe he's getting back to what we saw a few years ago. So let's just start there, Chris, and let's start with that first touchdown, and we can just go from there.
Yep.
But Brady's throw to Gronk in the end zone.
Well, I think to your point and what you're saying right there, like I think it's fair to say now, especially after this second game, we saw little inklings 2 weeks ago against the Packers to go, well, Gronk kind of looks good. Wow, he's getting there. And I think there was another step upwards or in the right direction again for Gronk to where I went, uh-oh, Gronk might be not just looks good, he might be back, like all the way back. Again, not saying prime Gronk, but damn good towards the end of the Patriots Gronk. I mean, that's where we're at. So that play specifically, first off, hey, that's a Gronk Brady special. I mean, that really is. It was Gronk split out to the left, all right, and they're going to check out that matchup. And there's basically no matchup that they're going to go, ooh, we don't like it. It might have been simple as, as long as it's man-to-man, you and Gronk just figure it out. Oh, it's a linebacker. Maybe you want to run a slant. Maybe he's playing the outside. Oh, it's a DB and he's playing the inside. Run the fade. I don't know if it's called or if they figure it out at the line of scrimmage, but there's a concept to the right on the bunch right, and then he's got Gronk split out to the left all by himself. Now, if he gets a double coverage look on Gronk, then he'll play the concept on the right and try to figure that out. But the play is all about Gronk and the matchup there. And, quite honestly, it's Nevin Lawson.
Who did a good job.
He does a good job, right. But that doesn't matter. That's why you put him out there, because it's just like, well, he's just too small. He's just not a big enough guy to be able to mess with him off the line of scrimmage. And then, when it comes to the bumping and all that, when the ball's in the air, just a little like flick of the elbow for Gronk is going to knock you away. And you're going to be like, oh man, I can't get there to grab the ball. I mean, he doesn't even have to do it like intentionally. He could just be like turning around and he hits you and it's over. But Brady threw a freaking strike and he just throws it, high and wide on the outside corner there. And there's no chance for Nevin Lawson. None at all. And then they make it look so easy. Brady threw the ball phenomenal in this football game. I mean, I could see why Chris Goodwin had a broken finger, on his touchdown catch. Threw a freaking laser. I mean, a laser. Brady is throwing it as confidently and as good as I've seen him throw it, I'm telling you, in a few years. It's that good. And not that it was that bad last year, but it's the confidence right now and just letting it go and going, damn, I'm going to let it go. I'm not worried about, ooh, it might be an incomplete, or I don't want to throw this deep pass because it'll be incomplete and who knows what happened. I really like that aspect.
So
but it's
why
awesome.
is that just better weapons and confidence in the weapons? Is it Bruce Arians being like, because he's telling him to hang in the pocket longer? Is it just like, hey, if you get beat up, you're going to get beat up. Don't worry about it, Tom? Why has he changed?
I think it is all about Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich. I do. And, of course, Brady deserves credit, too, for adjusting what he has done or how his mindset of playing the game. But I don't know if you saw in my notes. But the one thing I wrote was just that Bruce really increased Brady's confidence level to throw the ball down the field and be more aggressive. And he did it the right way. He, as you've heard me say before, and in this game it held true too, when they have the tight end or two tight ends in the game, or sometimes they even have three tight ends in the game, they usually keep in a 6 or 7 man protection and then go, hey, Tom, you're protected, and you're 43. I understand Brady's going to be a little looking over his eye when you're 43 and getting hit a lot. You're protected. Just trust it, big boy. We'll make the right scheme downfield, and the worst it'll be is a one-on-one, and you throw it up to a Gronk or a Mike Evans, and we like our chances because we don't feel like that's 50-50. We feel like it's 80-20. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think they built his confidence that way, where Brady in New England, not that they didn't have that element of their offense, but they were more like, hey, this is our play, and if that big shot downfield just presents itself, we'd like you to throw it down there. Tampa is more of, no, this play's to throw it downfield, and we're going to block it up, and we want you to really think throwing it downfield. And I feel like they built his confidence up that way now to where, let's talk about the next touchdown pass we were going to talk about on what the happens, because that doesn't happen last year.
33-yard to Scotty Miller.
Right.
This ball, by the way, and Pete notes here, traveled 55 yards in the air.
With ease.
Brady's longest completion since week 1 of 2017.
There you go. Right. So that's what I mean. This throw does not even happen the last few years for Tom Brady. He wouldn't even have attempted it. When he threw the ball, Scotty Miller is not open. I mean, they're about even as far as him and Nevin Lawson at that point. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see our little dots moving. It's basically like a trips left formation. They motion in the outside receiver just a little bit, but it's all goes, as you could see, right? It's 3 go routes, except Scotty Miller was in a little tight, so it's like a wide release go route. But the other thing here, too, Ahmed, see that 87 dot there on the 40-yard line? There's the tight end. They kept him in the block. So it's a 6-man protection once again. So Brady, he's gotten to the point now where they're like, hey, we're going to protect you. Don't worry. Don't peek over your shoulder or anything like that. And if you see one-on-one, let it go. And he's letting it go. And that, I mean, Brady, again, I've said it before. I'll say it again. His arm is an all-time arm. Yeah, I know it's not Brady and Mahomes and Rodgers and Brett Favre, but it is special. And just that throw there itself, high, effortless, spinning hard, on the money, touchdown. I didn't even know Scotty Miller could run like that, but that, I think, is a great example of what Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich have done to kind of nudge him to be a little bit more aggressive this year.
There was one play, and you've been critical of Tom in the past, not because you're critical of Tom, but I think you're more critical of the amount of love that you heaped on Tom
That's
Brady.
What it is, right.
This happens to me sometimes, too, where it's like you're like, oh, you're a contrarian. I'm like, no, I still like the player.
Right.
I just don't like him as much as everyone's saying that we should like the player.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And so I think that's what you're trying to say, but you've got some support. You've got some support from Peyton Manning.
Oh,
did you see this?
I did see this.
So he's got to show details. I think it's over on ESPN or ESPN+.
Yeah, it's a great show. I really like it.
NFL Films involved with it, where they look at a specific play in a game and Peyton breaks it down.
Yep.
He took a play from this game with Rob Gronkowski over on the sideline.
Right. Well, it's 2 games ago. It's the Packers game, remember?
Okay.
Don't forget.
2 games ago.
Right.
So Gronk was over on the sideline.
Right.
And Mike Evans was kind of in the area as well.
They got like a hitch route to the right. Like it was 6 yards, turn around, and then Gronk at the tight end on the left running across the field about 10 to 15 yards behind where Mike Evans is.
So I bring this up because it's like Tom has been throwing the ball great, but has some of it been fortune? Because Peyton Manning, at least on this specific play, pointed out that he thought that Tom Brady was throwing to Mike Evans. Rob Gronkowski happened to be in the area. If you got Twitter or whatever, go check it out on the NFL.
Check out
Twitter.
just the clip. Yeah, just check out that clip on Twitter. That's all you got to see.
And he thought that in this situation, Tom Brady got a little lucky, which maybe he can do more in this offense than he could get away with New England.
Well, yeah, he certainly. Hey, listen. I mean, yeah, they've got big time talent around him. I mean, it'd be hard to argue. There's not too many teams you can sit there and go, all right, Gronk, Mike Evans, Godwin, Scotty Miller, Leonard Fournette and Jones are running back. I mean, that they can match up with anybody as far as that's concerned. I don't agree with Peyton Manning. I don't. Now, do I love that, like, just from the, stir some crap up a little that Peyton Manning called out Tom Brady and all of that?
And in that video, called him out on the 4.
And called him out on the 4 thing, and it says he never admits he's wrong. And he goes, oh, here we are with these Zoom interviews. You don't have to answer any questions, the tough questions anymore.
Kind of did.
Which is very real.
Brady. Yeah, that is real.
That's a real point. But he did pile it on to Brady. Yeah. And I don't agree with him. I really don't. I understand what Peyton's trying to say, because he's thinking Brady mixed up with Mike Evans and should have ran the go down the right sideline, and that's what Brady was still thinking he might do. And he threw it there for Evans, and Gronk just happened to be running across. But here, there's a few things. First off, this is an across the field read. So he's going, there's one receiver to the right in Mike Evans, and then there's tight end, receiver, and he's going to go to the right and then slowly go across the field to the left. That's his reads, right? 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and he's just going to go right to left. Well, first clue is to tell me that it was intentionally for Gronk. Gronk is running over to that point the whole time. Like he knows he's going, I'm the second read. I have to get over there because we're putting that backside corner in a bind. If he played really far off in cover 3, they would have thrown the hitch, right? Mm-hmm. But he came up and was somewhat aggressive, Jair Alexander, on Mike Evans, and now he readjusts. He kind of flinches in the pocket, and you don't see this huge head move, but I believe you see the head move to Gronk, and that's where me and Peyton disagree there. And that to me, I think that was a phenomenal throw.
Yeah.
So I disagree with Peyton. I love that he called him out a little. That was fun, but nonetheless.
But Tom's locked in, and that's Tom's locked in, and that's helping them be, one-on-one, scheme-wise. I mean, are there that many offenses ahead of them in the NFC?
No, there's not. I think it's one of the more complete. They're one of the more complete teams. I think you've heard me say that, and I think they're one of the most complete offenses in all of the NFC, definitely, because they can run and overpower you. Of course, they can spread it out, and Brady can pick you apart. They can block it up and take shots down the field. But to what you said, that's the big point. When you have a scheme that can screw people over, and then you have players that can win one-on-one matchups, that's when you become, fucking awesome. Sorry. right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, like, Kansas City. Oh, well, you know, our scheme's good. It's Andy Reid, zing, 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 zing. Oh, you're man up now, and we just have to make it 1 versus 1? Okay, or our one's better. And that's when they become a deadly combination. And, yeah, they can do it in so many different ways. They have great scheme versatility on the offensive side of the ball. If they had to get into a run game slugfest and it was rainy out and things like that, they'd be okay. If they had to get in a spread out shootout, they'd be okay. And then, of course, we know they can get into a balanced offensive game, too, as we're seeing. So I really love the way Brady's playing, their offense, everything about it. It's really a good look. They're one of my favorite watches on a week-to-week basis.
And I want to throw a damn okay onto this team as well. It's not on the offensive side of the ball, but it's on the defensive side. Devin White.
Whoa.
11 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, was named the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. This is a defense that I think we saw last year.
Yes.
It's talented, super talented.
Right.
But now it appears that they have taken another step forward this year. Did you see that?
I do, yeah. I mean, Devin White, like, you know, he kind of like just kind of is an example of what you're saying. Like last year we saw talent, but he was a little bit like a chicken with his head cut off at times, or you're like, he's young, he doesn't know where he's going. Oh, he took this fake and he's running 20 yards to the right, the ball's over here, all that. You saw the talent, but I think year 2, Todd Bowles' scheme, him in the NFL, that goes for the secondary players too. Some of the corners last year that blew coverages and things like that. Man, Ahmed, I'm telling you, they're the best team in the NFC. They really are.
They are.
Again, with the defense they have.
Because a week ago,
I know,
or 2 weeks ago, you said you're almost there.
I'm almost there.
Yeah. And now you're there.
I'm there. I've been saying it since Monday. I've been going, no, they're the best team. You give me them versus Seattle. You give me them versus Green Bay. I'm taking Tampa. Again, just because they can beat you in so many different ways, and they really don't have a weakness to their football team. And their defense, you know, the front seven is special. I mean, their front, again, like their offense, their front four, it's like, oh, you got to play the Ravens and stop a killer run game. They'll be fine. Oh, we got to get into nickel and dime because we're playing Seattle and they're going to throw every play. They'll be fine. They can do all of that. And then, of course, Devin White and Davante David in the middle, I mean, they're like the erasers. And it gives them then more scheme flexibility because they can tell their defensive line at times to do crazy shit. Hey, slant this way, this guy twist. Yeah, it might leave a big gap in the run game here, but don't worry. These two freaks at linebacker will clean it up. And that's where they're special right now, let alone they're really well coached in their zone coverages.
Yeah.
And if they got to play a little man-to-man, they have a shutdown island corner. Carlton Davis is no doubt one of the top 10 corners in football. Now, I got to look I'd have to make a list to figure out exactly where he is, but he is going to be the next big corner contract you'll see in the next year and a half or two, where he's going to get $15 million a year, something like that. He's that type of guy.
So you think their biggest step just came from the players they had, taking another step, Todd Bowles, scheming up better defense?
And them just understanding his defense, too. You know, his defense, it's exotic. It's got a lot of different rules, things like that. But I think, you know, yes, some of those young corners, Devin White, who you're talking about, I think they've got a feel for it now. And, yeah, I would just say watch out for the Bucs because they're like some of the AFC teams we see, and there's just no weakness to their football team, and the NFC doesn't have a lot of those.
You know what I would say?
What?
Bowles in this house, got Todd Bowles in this house, got Todd Bowles in this house.
Oh.
Certified freak.
Damn.
As a defensive coordinator.
Look at you, kid.
That's pop culture for you.
Oh,
right there.
Look at you.
I've been waiting for that one. I've been waiting for the defense.
Doesn't know a movie, but he got songs.
Got
okay,
songs.
so that's I'll have to revert to that. That's fine.
Okay, I think that pretty much puts a bow on that one. Anything Raiders? I feel bad we didn't talk a ton about the Raiders.
It's
here.
okay. The Raiders did a lot of good things. That was a tough matchup for them.
Yeah,
they're outclassed, and you know the area where they always want to have their greatest advantages is their offensive line, and of course they had the COVID issues, and because it's the Bucs, they couldn't control the game with their run game because you just can't. With Sue and JPP and Shaq Barrett and Nunez Roches is playing really good. And I'm missing the other defensive lineman I wrote down there. McClendon, who they trade for. He's popped a little bit. They're just an immovable force that way, and that really took away a big aspect of how the Raiders beat people. Raiders are good. But it was a tough matchup. They're outclassed by the Buccaneers. It wasn't a game, I think you saw this in my notes. I didn't write like, oh, the Raiders played bad. They just got slowly worn down by a better football team, and that's all there really is to it.
Slowly worn down by a better football team. That is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're used to saying that about the New England Patriots. Tom Brady's old team, but it was exactly the opposite. A game in which you picked correctly.
I did.
The 49ers would go to Foxborough and beat Cam Newton and the Patriots. You didn't pick it quite this lopsided.
No.
33-6. This was domination. Cam Newton threw 3 interceptions in the game. So that's where I want to start right off. I want you to rank the 3 interceptions and which one was really bad, which one was not quite as bad, and which one maybe didn't bother you as much there.
Okay.
All 3 of them, the one long one doesn't seem that egregious right at the end of the half.
It didn't kill them. It was 23-3. 49ers didn't end up going to score on the drive or anything like that. In fact, Jimmy Garoppolo ended up throwing an interception himself to J.C. Jackson, I believe. But yes, I would say, so just to list them, that's, yes, the least worst of the 3, right? I have no real problem with that. By far.
By the way, on that play, he did throw it 57 yards in the air.
Well, I mean, 57 yards, yes. I'll say this about that play. I mean, his arm strength is real. He's got some mechanical issues the last 2 weeks. You know, he's got the whole, like, hey, I'm throwing to 12 o'clock. I'm on the middle of the clock. I'm throwing to 12, but I'm stepping at 9.
Ooh.
Or, and I'll get into another one in a minute, where he's wrong on that play, just to hit on it. You know, there's the old phrase, if he's even, he's leaving, right?
Yeah.
Well, Jacoby Myers, that phrase does not apply. All right, so that would be where I would just go, dude, this guy doesn't outrun people with the ball. Like, that's not his game. And he was not in front of Mosley at that point when he let the ball go. So
and he tripped.
Right, and he tripped, exactly right. So there was no chance. But that was the third
not as
least
bad.
egregious.
Yeah,
right.
not egregious.
I think the first one's the worst one. The first one, you know, the game being at that point, I believe it's 10-3, right? And, you know, first off, I think the thing that bothers me is nobody's open. And Cam's got to work on this because this is 2 games in a row. It's too much. Nobody's open. Get off the spot. Move. Stop standing there and just like being, oh, I'm the damn Terminator and I'll sit here all day long and you come hit me. Somebody will get open and I'll throw it. No, they're not going to get open. Your receivers aren't good. So it's going to be on you to have to manipulate it that way. So that was the first thing I didn't like of the play, let alone the decision to make the throw was not good. I mean, the ball got tipped by a guy that jumped up, but it was going to be an interception regardless. I mean, who ended up getting it? Warner? I mean, Warner.
So,
yeah, Warner was there, right? Warner.
So wait, are you talking about the one that went off Edelman's hands?
No. Even the first one, I couldn't tell if the guy jumped.
Yeah.
I thought maybe somebody touched it. Maybe he didn't.
I just think he just threw it into the ground.
He might have. He's been throwing some balls, what I would call like a screwball. It comes out of the side of his hand and nosedives.
That's what it looked like.
Right. So it was a horrible decision and then a really bad throw where it was like, you know, I understand sometimes you're going to throw an interception. The game is not perfect. Interceptions you can live with as far as like, oh, he threw in the spot. He was hoping his guy could get it. He did throw it, but, man, the defense made a great play or whatever. This was not one of them.
He threw it in the spot that only Fred Warner could get it.
Pretty much.
And he made a good play.
So that was 10-3. That made it 16-3 a few plays later. And now they're stuck into a game, which is not good for them.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's get into that last interception, right?
The one off of the hands of Edelman.
Right. Off the
where he kind of Edelman was open, and he just kind of threw a fastball high.
And
Edelman
behind.
tipped it, and it was behind, and Jamar Taylor got it.
Exactly. And then you explained it exactly right. The play was for Edelman all along. It's called a jerk route because we're going to make the one linebacker in the middle of the field look like a jerk because Edelman has a 3-way go. He can stop and come back, or he can stop and go forward. And in a lot of cases, sometimes you could stop and go up the field vertically, too. So there's a lot of things you could do there. He is open. Cam's eyes stay way too long to the left. He's got a little seam and a hitch out to his left, which he has the freedom to throw if he likes it. He looks at the seam a little too long, but then he comes back to Edelman, and he's got some people at his feet. His feet are totally cockeyed. He's throwing a ball to 2 o'clock, and he's stepping at 9 o'clock. So that leads, again, when you're like that, it's going to lead to inaccuracies, but I think the big thing is the thing you said. He throws the ball too hot. It was too hard, first off. I mean, even if he puts it in his face, there's no way he's going to catch it. It's going to hit his face and bounce in the air.
It sticks right there in the face.
I mean, he just threw it way too hard, let alone behind the receiver and all of that, and that tips the ball up in the air. Interception for Jamar Taylor, and night-night.
So that was the middle. The worst one was the Fred Warner one, but that was
number 2.
That was not great.
And then the post route would be number 3.
So this is a question from Angelo Papano.
Yeah, right.
And you talked about it already. I'd love to hear you pick apart Cam's awful throwing footwork. Has it always been this bad?
No, he's always had little issues with it where it's like, oh, here's Cam's throwing it great for 5 weeks, and all of a sudden one game it gets bad, and maybe 2, and then someone says something or he realizes and he fixes it, and then it goes back to good again. But he gets in a horrible, and I'm going to just do this here standing up, but again, you know, if I'm throwing the ball here, all right, he does this too much to throw it there, right? It's just not going to work consistently good. Yeah, he'll make some throws like that, sure. But to do it consistently, no. And it does at times, listen, he goes, let me say, it's 5 and out. It's good drive for a field goal. It's interception on the first play that we just talked about to Fred Warner. And then it was a 3 and out. And it was 23-3. It was a game over. So there was 4 drives. The game was over. Now, we'll talk about the defense in a minute. But even on the 3 and out that I talk about here, that then leads to the game being going to 23-3. He throws a 3rd down, short throw to his left side, and it's the same thing. Throws one of those low balls you just talked about. Yeah. He gets his front shoulder way jacked up high in the air. And now when you don't step there, where else can you go from right here except to go that way a little bit? And, of course, that's going to lead to the ball going down. You know, so if you're up here, yeah, okay, you want to be up here maybe if you want to throw a bomb, but not when you're throwing a 10-yard route. And he needs to clean up some of those things. He wasn't doing this earlier in the year, and that's why he was on point. And he made some throws in this game where you go, damn, that's a good throw. Come on, man, let's do that all the time. But the game got out of hand, and they got forced into a game that they can't play because they can't win a shootout against good quality football teams, or at least another good quality defense.
It's starting to almost look like the Patriots need the game to go well in like 3 facets for them to have a good offensive game. They need to get the running game going.
Right.
And they need Cam to be on point because it's not like the receivers, and we've mentioned before, are going to be able to do a lot of it.
No, they're not. And especially with Edelman not being like totally 100% either. You know, yeah.
And the running game can start with Cam, too.
It can.
That can be Cam.
No, it can be. And that's, you know, again, I think the silver lining a little is when they wanted to run the ball, it showed they were going to be capable. But the game it got lost, and they couldn't, like, hang with it at all. You know, they wanted to play a game that was going to be 20-17, 23-20. And then, okay, we can stay balanced and we can stay with the run and Cam's design runs and things like that. And then we'll hit you with some cool play action passes and some other things where guys are going all different ways because of our run game. They still can do that at a high level. But, yes, when the game got like this, it was a real issue. And, you know, all you can really say is that's the way. Like, I think you said it. That game, they have to play a certain style of football.
Yeah.
You know, they can't play like shootout football against the better teams in the game. They're not going to win those.
And you have all along given credit to the 49ers defense. And I think there's this thought that you lose Nick Bosa for the year. That's a huge blow.
Right.
You've lost DeForest Buckner, who's playing very well for the Colts right now. Those are 2 big pieces. You might not have enough to be that dominant 49ers defense that you had last year.
Right.
Maybe not as dominant on the defensive line. From what you saw in this game, can they still be that dominant team defensively?
Yeah, they can. There's no doubt about it. They're still a really good football team with a lot of good talent. You know, now one thing, the matchup played in their favor, too, to where they could play a little man in this game because they weren't worried about anybody, right? So that was good for them. But regardless, you know, when you talk about their defensive line still, Armstead, Kinlaw, Jones, Hyder, you know, even Street and Givens behind them and those guys, it's a pretty good front. I know it's not superstars, and people are never going to look at it and go, oh, it's not, but I'm just telling you.
Kerry Hyder, by the way, is always making
Yes, he
plays.
is. And DJ Jones in the middle is one of these guys that I'm telling you, he's going to become a free agent in a few years, and the 49ers are going to be able to keep him because somebody's going to pay him a lot of money. You know, so they have a lot of guys that, yeah, they're not superstar names, but me as nerdy football guys sitting here trying to tell you, damn, they're good players, though. I'd like them on my team. I'd certainly. So between that, and then the biggest thing for them, Ahmed, is a little bit like the last thing we just talked about in the Bucs. Those 2 middle linebackers fly around everywhere. I mean, Fred Warner, you heard Tony Romo on the telecast at all? He called him the best middle linebacker in football.
Do you agree?
I don't think that's he's in that conversation. He is one of those 3-4 guys where I'd go, yeah. You know, he's really special in the space. He can cover Julian Edelman man-to-man. I mean, he has a few plays where he locks down Julian Edelman. So, yes, what I'm saying, especially if their safeties are healthy and we can have a Mosley healthy, and if you can have Sherman back in the lineup, I would say, yes, this defense, I think right now is still a top 5. It's number 5 defense in football, and I think it can stay there all year long. I do.
Elite on defense. Offensively, They looked elite in this one. That run game was elite again. San Francisco with 4 rushing touchdowns. The Patriots had allowed 1 in their first 5 games, so that was something that the Patriots hadn't been leaky in, at least up to this point. Here's a guesstimate. You ready for a guesstimate?
Right.
The 49ers have played 23 games their past 2 seasons. How many rushing touchdowns have they had in that span?
Oh, gosh.
23 games in the last 2 seasons.
Okay, 23 games in the last 2 seasons. I mean, they're easily good for 2 touchdowns a game. So 46 touchdowns is going to be too low. I'm going to go, oh, well, maybe not now with that reaction. I'm going to go, shut up, stop messing with me. I'm going to go 65.
65? 35, according to Pete.
Oh, shit, I'm way out of here. I'm giving them way too much credit.
But that's how much you love Kyle right there.
I'm thinking the game's going like, all right, this game.
If they just got 4 in this game.
That's what I mean. I'm thinking like there's got to be some games. But, yeah, that was a stupid guess. Holy cow.
That was high.
Yes.
But the next highest was Arizona and the Rams at 30 each.
Okay.
So they are the highest.
Man, Arizona, that's one I wouldn't have called. But that's the Kyler Murray effect and his ability to run in from
had a good year last year.
Yeah. And Kyler can scramble in from the 5 like no other.
So they were able to run the ball, and specifically that Jeff Wilson 16-yard touchdown run. Pete wanted you to kind of take a closer look at that, and if that was indicative of how the 49ers were able to run the ball on the Patriots.
It totally was. Now, the ball wasn't on that specific play intended to go where it was. Right? The play was made for a cutback. You know, last week we talked about the Derrick Henry zone, tight end behind the line of scrimmage, and then we cut it back, right? You know, so they're running inside zone to the right. The tight end on the right is going to come behind the line of scrimmage and kick out the backside, weak side defensive end to where now, hey, guys, we're running zone to the right. Oh, wait, let me plant my right foot in the ground, and I cut back, and we have this huge hole. Lawrence Guy messes that up a little bit. He shoots the gap. He doesn't really play, oh, I'm going to go down the line of scrimmage and play my gap like most people do. He decides just to go attack the football. So because of that, Wilson can't cut back. But just because the play is meant to be made a cutback run doesn't mean the front side just goes, we don't have to block on this play. They're going over there. They still block it perfectly as well. And Wilson does a great job of weaving through the traffic. But it's the run game design, even on that play, I just want everybody to understand this. You got your 5 offensive linemen. They got a tight end to the right and Kittle who motioned over to the left. Right off the tackles, right? And they're just stepped back a little bit. The receivers are also tight. So that action happens, that zone right, tight end comes behind. Kittle releases into the flat on the weak side. But just the way they block it and how they attack it is special. And it just exemplifies what the game was, which was an overall attack and assault on Bill Belichick's edge of his defense of front 7 especially. And Shanahan didn't let him off the hook. He said, you don't have D tackles. You don't have good run stoppers. I don't care how many people you put in the box. I'm coming after you. We can run the football. And they have a lot of weapons and different ways to do it, which is so special. I mean, again, when you start getting into Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, whatever running backs in the game. Ultimately, you'd like Mostert there because that's their most explosive one.
Wilson's fast.
And then, right, Wilson's fast too. So that's what I mean, whatever running back. But then Juszczyk, I would sit there and go, that can challenge just about anybody in football, and especially the way the 49ers want to play where they get all those guys the ball in the run game. I mean, even the fullback and the tight end get the ball in the run game.
And you're caught on your heels if you're the Patriots. And that play that you just described with Dwelly going to the left, and there's supposed to be a cutback over there. Well, even though they didn't go over there, the linebacker, who was it, Juwan Bentley, he saw the motion over there. He saw Dwelly going over there, and so it gave him like a second pause.
Definitely.
And that was enough for Wilson to hit the
front
hole,
side.
He had no chance. Bentley had no chance of making a play.
You're right. Bentley was screwed either way. Bentley was smart enough to realize, wait, they're trying to run the cutback.
Yeah.
You know, but they also teach the running back.
He was too smart.
They teach the running back, too, to read that.
Yeah.
Now, this play, it didn't matter because, like I said, Lawrence Guy kind of shoot the gap, and he wasn't able to cut back, so then he just kept straight, and he weaved through traffic there. But, yes, and that speaks to the point once again. Why does Shanahan want to do that? Because guys like Juwan Bentley, they're slow. They can't stop the edge runs. You know, so Shanahan just constantly attacked the outside edge, and then, Bill overplayed. You know, I'm going to set the edge and force you back inside. And then he would go right up inside the edge. Oh, you're going to overplay it? Oh, we'll assault you this way. And, Oh, the edge is here? Great. You set the edge. We'll push the edge out a little farther, and now we've exposed you right inside the edge. And it was just a constant attack on that all day long. Outside, inside out, outside in, all of that, and they did it so many freaking different ways, it's unbelievable. Oh, it's a toss crack on the edge. Oh, it's outside zone on the edge. Oh, it's fullback lead, between the tackles and the tight end right onto the edge, that push the edge out, like that type of play. The speed sweeps, the swing routes where he'd throw to the back way out, and then the receivers are blocking the corners and the safeties. It's a toss crack, except they've just thrown the ball 10 yards out farther than a toss. So they are attacking the edge that way. Then play action, throw the ball out there on swing routes. So constantly making life hard on their front seven, which is not very talented, taking their great secondary out of the game and making it a moot point to where you're like, oh, yeah, that's the strength of your team. Well, we're not going to give you a chance to even, capitalize on that today. And that's where the genius of Shanahan really kicked ass.
Can I read a direct quote from your notes?
Yeah.
You said, Kyle was nice to Bill Belichick.
He was.
Kyle could have been worse.
Kyle could have hung 55 on New England. Kyle called off the dogs in the third quarter. He was very nice. And I think, I don't know if Bill would have done that to Kyle, but Kyle's cool that way. And I think he has a lot of respect for Bill Belichick, and he wasn't interested in, trying to embarrass him or anything there. But yeah. New England's will was taken away by that 16-yard Wilson touchdown run. That was the game. When they scored that, it was 23-3. They knew it was over, and that was it. It was good night. Yeah, we'll go into halftime. We'll try to come out here and make it look like something. But they knew it was over. As a player, whoa, this isn't our day, and we don't match up good with these guys. And I think New England realized that about second quarter they were in deep trouble.
So that's a lot of really bad things for the New England Patriots in that game. And I know listening to the podcast with you and Paul on Monday, you said you would still be surprised if New England wasn't in the mix for a playoff spot come the end of the year. After watching the tape more in depth, does that hold? Would you still be surprised if they're not in it?
Yes, I would. I still think they're going to be in it. Now, I'm not sitting here going to just lock it down and go, oh, they're in the AFC playoffs. No. I still think I see enough things to go, I think they could still be a 6 or a 7 seed and be a pain in the butt. Again, we talked about it. They got to play a certain way. They've definitely been sloppy. COVID-19 messed them up. Lack of practice. No Cam Newton. All those issues. Again, they got young guys. Cam's learning a new offense. The offensive line was a mismatch for a little bit, so you got that. You let alone you can't practice. And like I've said on PFT a few times this week, when you can't go to practice and do things like that, it hurts New England more than anybody. The greatest thing they have on their organization in the last 20 years is Bill Belichick and his ability to coach everybody, keep his finger on everybody, the details of this, the creative things that go through his brain. Some of that gets lost when you're not in the building every day. Some of his genius gets lost that way, and I think that's hurt them. But they still have a top-tier run game in the NFL. They really do. So between that and then there's not a whole lot of offenses that are going to be able to be a mismatch like that, like San Francisco was. So I'm not giving up on them, and I've said this on Monday, and I'll say it again. Don't be shocked if they beat the Buffalo Bills this week. Buffalo can't stop the run, and then Buffalo can't run. So now New England gets to go DB all over the place. You want to throw it every play. Great. That's what we want. And you can't stop the run. So that sets up. It's a game of matchups, and they match up really well with Buffalo.
Cam could get back on track. You don't know how much of it was missing those practices.
Sure.
And I was thinking of this the other day. You don't often talk about the fact that he had coronavirus. COVID,
exactly.
And that actually might have an effect,
and he
too.
actually didn't actually get to work out or throw a ball for a week.
Actually having the disease of COVID-19,
sure.
Even if you don't have symptoms, we don't know a ton about it.
Right.
Like that physically could make you different than it did before you had.
Bottom line is Shanahan's on fire right now.
Yeah.
This is 2 weeks in a row where it's just exposing defenses, making it so easy on your quarterback. Everything, it's just amazing. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's just he's killing it right now. And nobody tests defenses' run fits and how you're going to stop certain things better than Kyle Shanahan. He's the best in football at that.
They could finish 10-6 and lose the division by 4 games. I don't know.
The 49ers?
I don't know. That division's just so tough.
Yeah, but don't count that out yet. Don't count that out. They all got to play each other.
Yeah.
And that Seattle defense still sucks. So there's still a lot of work here to be done, and I don't think they're out of the division yet. And the way they're looking again, Talk about Tampa, complete team. Best team in the NFC, in my opinion.
Yeah.
San Francisco ends going up on this trend here. They're going to be a complete team too. And the same thing with the Saints I'd throw in there to go, watch out. Those are the teams I look out to I think can be a player in the NFC for real still. We'll see where it goes.
There are a lot of ways they can win. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, there's one way you can win, and it's ride the arm of Joe Burrow.
Ride it, baby.
And they almost did that against Baker Mayfield. You talked about this game with Paul on Monday, but we wanted to hone in on just the two quarterbacks. You took a look at the two quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, of course, started out the game 0-5, disastrous start. Finished the game 22-22 after that. Did have one spike into the ground that I'm not going to count that.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
But then you got Joe Burrow. So you got 5 total touchdowns for Baker, career high. Then you got 406 yards for Joe Burrow, 4 touchdowns for Joe. So you looked at the two quarterbacks in this one, and let's kind of start with the Baker Mayfield, the final touchdown to Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Sure.
Because I think you're going to look at that play and be like, wow, that just all came together. Although I will say he maybe threw it a little late because Peoples-Jones did have to turn around for it and kind of catch it in his breadbasket there. But, I mean, it couldn't have been thrown much closer to the DB's fingertips than it was.
No. Well, he was, it was a good, aggressive throw. It was third and, short, right? Or it was short yardage situation. Where the hell did I write this play? Okay, here we go.
11 seconds left, 24-yard touchdown.
24-yard touchdown. I mean, the Bengals are playing a really, somewhat aggressive defense, too.
4 verticals.
4 verticals up the field. And, hold on, let me just get to the game here. And he put the ball, in a spot that was good, of course. But I do think they got a little lucky with a little push as far as when the ball was in the air. You could have called offensive pass interference.
To Peoples-Jones?
Definitely. There was a definite noticeable push there altogether. I was surprised the Bengals were playing that aggressive. I really was. But I think all in all, it just speaks to the day Baker had in general.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, Baker really threw the ball well and aggressively. And there was no second guessing. And there was no, the Baker Mayfield, wait, I want to throw it. He just came back and he was in rhythm and it was bam, he let it go all day long. And really, I mean, the ball came out of his hand clean. Everything was great that way. It was one of the better games he'd had this year. I will say that watching it on TV, I thought it was more impressive than I did on film.
Really?
And not to take anything away from it, but, they have the run game they're allowed to rely on. And he got a lot of easy completions through the game, too, where I just go, man, that guy's wide open. And, again, I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but I'm just saying it was easier for him to put up those stats as compared to Joe Burrow, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And nonetheless, it was still a really good day by Baker Mayfield. I mean, come on, the pass he had to Njoku down the middle for the touchdown pass to, in the early fourth quarter, that was a phenomenal throw. It was it's the best throwing day Baker Mayfield's had in a while, honestly, in my opinion. And I think that's the good thing they can continue to build on.
But despite Baker Mayfield having one of the best throwing days you've seen in a while, I feel from looking at your notes that you like Joe Burrow better in this game.
Yes, I did. I mean, Baker was good. Joe Burrow is the Bengals. He is the team. They put the whole game. It's unbelievable. The whole game is on Joe Burrow. It's just hey, game started. We can't run. We're not very good at pass protecting. You got to throw for 404 touchdowns or we're not going to be able to win today. And we still might not win if you do that, obviously. But I'm blown away by Joe Burrow. And again, it's not like he's got the biggest arm ever. I think the first thing I'll say is this, and you heard me say this early in the year. Some of the power throws, the down-the-field throws were the most concerning things I saw. And I went just damn, it looked like it got maybe a hair worse than it was at LSU. He's fixed his motion a little bit, okay? I'll say this. That's the first thing I want to say, and then we'll get into some of the things he does. But Burrow, especially on deep throws, had a little tendency to be very just up and down, right? Here's the motion, and then his right arm would go to the opposite pocket. It's my left arm to my right pocket. For him, it was right arm to the left pocket. You've heard me say this many times. You watch Aaron Rodgers, you watch Mahomes, you watch Brady, the guys who can really throw the football, their arm never goes to the opposite pocket. Never. Now, maybe if they have to move or something like that. But generally, when they're warming up and things are perfect, their arm ends up on their opposite pectoral, across their body. Again, if you want to throw the ball far or hard that way, your arm has to go that way. It can't go from here to here, and you think the ball is going to go hard that way. That makes no sense. So he really, I think, corrected that. And this, to me, was the best game he had as far as power throws. But I like that. But the feel, the touch, the consistency, it's off the charts for a rookie. I mean, it's just unreal. In chaos, people around me, oh, there's a 20-yard cross route. I can't really throw it perfect. I'm going to kind of just throw this ball with my arms straight up in the air and get there. Bam, on the money. Oh, it's tight coverage. The guys are running a slant and then working back out. It's tight. You got to throw a bullseye. Bullseye. I mean, it's unreal what they're asking him to do and how he delivers all the time, let alone, yeah, he takes advantage of all that's there to be had. I always say that.
Yep.
But when there's nothing there to be had, he can make plays. And, I was really amazed by his play overall.
He has always been, all year long, I don't know where he is right now, but all year long he has been among the leaders in throwing into a tight window with next gen.
Of course.
He has done that, and he's done it successfully, too. And they do have a good receiving core over there.
They do.
One of the deeper ones on the NFL, and so that's not hurting him.
But they don't have a run game and a pass pro either.
They do not.
Right.
They do not. So I'm going to ask you this about Baker and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
If you had to build a team, and you're starting right now, I mean, Baker's not that much older, right? He's been in the league for what?
Right.
3 years, 4 years now, is it? 3 years? Who are you starting a franchise with, Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield?
I'm going Joe Burrow. Yeah.
It's not hard.
It's not hard. Not for me right now. I like Baker Mayfield. You can win games. I'm still a believer in him. Burrow, to me, though, can carry your team on an every week basis. He can. And he will, especially when he gets a little more help and they can actually protect him and do those type of things. But, yeah, I mean, just some of the stuff and throws he makes, I mean, they're unbelievable, let alone, like I said, the game is played all through him. They don't do that in Cleveland. They have to manage Baker a little bit. Mm-hmm. They know, like, if they did what Joe Burrow did, he would throw more interceptions. They know they can't do that. They can't trust him that way. Burrow, you can. Yeah, he threw an interception. I get that. He's not perfect. But, damn, even in the interception, it's one you can deal with. You go, it wasn't, like, stupid. Denzel Ward jumped 47 feet in the air and got a finger on it. He's going to throw a touchdown. I just think he thought, man, that guy can't get that high. I'll loft it over him. And he jumped up and got a hand on it. So it's like the mistakes a lot of the times are even mistakes where you just go, all right, he's a rookie, but like even for a veteran, that really wasn't that egregious. And, yeah, just some of the throws, like, the throw to Boyd to go up 17-10. I mean, just gutsy, his feel in the pocket, the anticipation, everything like that is just very special that way.
He's like Joe Cool. You've wanted to call him that a while, and that last play, the last touchdown, the 4th and 1 to Gio Bernard, just not doing too much, right? Getting it out there. It's a little bit of a touch pass.
Right.
It wasn't open, but you got to make the play.
Yes, it wasn't the best pass, and really, those are sometimes the hardest throws because you're going, damn, I just want to throw it so perfect just to make sure he catches it.
Yeah.
And it's a running back, too, where that really goes through your mind as a quarterback. But, yeah, that play basically was Spider 2 Buckeye. You always hear John Gruden, Spider 2 Banana, right? Yeah. They just did it a little different way where Giovanni Bernard kind of faked motion to the left, and then he came back to the right, and usually the fullback goes into the flat, but this time it was him. They got the leverage out there, and he threw a strike. And, I mean, Joe Burrow is really I know you saw this one line. I just wrote, pretty f***ing unreal. I wrote every throw. This guy throws. The guy has a chance to catch it. And I wrote, I mean, even 3 or 4 of his incompletions, people are all around him. He changes the arm angle, and still the ball was on the money. Like, that's where there was a handful of completions in the game where I went, holy cow, that's unbelievable. And I just want to go back to that one play that I just talked about with Boyd. As far as being the score to go up, because I want to just wax poetically about it, if you don't mind.
Okay, go for it.
And I'm just trying to find it one more time here, and I hate to do this, but
you loved.
All right, forget it. I won't do it.
You love Joe Burrow. You can't find it.
I can. I'm feeling the pressure. I don't want to mess this up. I'm feeling the pressure.
Yeah. Pete says he's giving you.
He's giving me leeway to do it.
He's giving you 5 extra seconds.
All right. So here we go. It's the end of the first half.
You used your only timeout of the pod.
Well. I got to use it right there. Yeah. But there was the throw down the middle to go up 17-10 before the half. And not that this is a great throw. Boyd just gets a yard in the end zone and turns around. But Burrow, it's a tight window. People are all around it. And he throws the ball before Boyd really even turns around. Like, he's throwing the ball as Boyd is kind of just breaking down to turn around. And that, to me, is really what speaks to him. The game must be in slow motion. His ability to read, recognize, throw the appropriate throw, when and when not to be gutsy is really high level. And, I mean, really, really high level for a young quarterback. But, yeah, I loved him, and he's the man.
So the biggest upset for me when we were talking about the quarterbacks in the draft was that you did not have Justin Herbert ahead of Joe Burrow.
Right, I couldn't do it yet.
How much you like the arm strength from Herbert. And now, I mean, hearing you talk about still how much you like Joe Burrow, you probably still got Joe ahead of Justin. But, man, Justin has looked awesome so far this year. Thrown into the starting lineup in an odd situation, has taken that job and done about as well as you could do with it.
Definitely.
And he's throwing the ball downfield, specifically thinking about the 70-yard touchdown to Jalen Guyton. And Pete notes here, passes 20 or more yards downfield, 8 targets to 7 different receivers, 4 of 8, 144 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, like, talk about elite passer downfield. Justin Herbert has to already be in the conversation and one of the best.
100%. You're right. I mean, listen, Paul asked me if Justin Herbert was a top 10 quarterback on Monday. I said he's flirting with it. Now, top 10 arm? Definitely. Top 5 deep ball thrower already? Definitely. I mean, again, I would think, and I don't know, you guys know me, I don't look up stats or the numbers like that, but I would think since he's been in the game and starting and playing, that plus 20-yard completions and things like that, like he's up there with anybody in football as far as what he does that way. And this
getting some quarterbacks to even attempt those.
Yes, you can't get him to do it.
Like,
And he does it with such ease. That's where he's special. Again, I feel like he only has to use like 70% of his power output to throw a ball 60 yards. And that's an advantage for anybody in any sport. When you don't have to go max out to do something that's very high level, right? The guy who can hit a drive down the middle of the fairway and only swing 80%, I bet you he's going to have better control over that drive over the guy that has to swing 100% as hard as I can every time, right? Yeah, he might hit it farther every now and then, but it might be 3 fairways over every now and then too. But on that play especially, it's a play in the old West Coast offense that John Gruden would just call it H3 double go. It's strong left, right? It's the I formation, except the fullback is set off strong to the left side a little bit. It's just a little quick token play action fake. The 2 receivers on the outside run goes, and your tight end just runs a middle in cut, like 12 yards straight across. So he's going to go, okay, who's one-on-one? What's the matchup I like? Set hut. Let me play action fake. Wait, did my guy beat the guy one-on-one? And if he didn't, then he'll look over the middle and try to hit the tight end and somewhere sitting down in that little hole, or if it's man-to-man, he'll keep running. Well, he sees Guyton in an area where he just goes, hey, Guyton can go, and he's got a step on the guy. But he just throws a ball out there that's effortless, and I don't know how far that ball went in the air, but I'm going to say it was probably, only about 40-something yards. But it's just on the money, let alone all the other big throws he had through the day. Again, I'll say this. You asked me about the Joe Burrow. I made Joe Burrow 1.
Yeah.
All spring, though, before the draft, I said Justin Herbert has the higher ceiling. You see, he's got special superstar traits there. So does Joe Burrow. Again, I'm not saying I'm putting him ahead of him, but he's really, really talented, and he just makes so many big-time throws.
Give some love to Guyton on that play, too.
Yeah.
He outran the safety after he caught it, Brandon Watson, who had an angle on him. I was looking up Guyton, undrafted out of North Texas last year.
It's unreal.
He's got 8 receptions this year, 7 for first downs. 3 of those were touchdowns. So he's been very productive for Herbert. They're helping each other there. So the way that Cincinnati has given the keys to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, this is the question.
Have the Chargers, are they willing to do that with Justin Herbert?
No, but they have to, because they're wasting their own time and everybody else's time, and they're letting some teams play closer than they have to. No, again, I don't think it has to be like, we have to be in the shotgun like Cincinnati and throw the ball every play, but there's still too much of like run on first, run on second. Hey, it's 3rd and 12 because we suck at running. Can you throw it in there for a first down now? Yeah, I'd like to see them play through him more. Instead of this run first, oh, wait, the run's not working, now we need you to bail us out. I would like to see it go the other way around. Hey, throw first, get Herbert in rhythm, And I bet you the run game then after that will be open because people are going to start to worry about it. So I would like to see that. You know, they don't necessarily make the game very easy for him.
Yeah.
But when it comes to seams, goes, post corners, things like that, he's as good as anybody in football throwing those routes. He is right up there with the Mahomes and the Josh Allens and the Aaron Rodgers of the world.
And the Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, when it comes to putting those type of throws on the money with ease and being able to throw it so many different ways, like, oh, it's 40 yards. I can throw a laser 6 feet off the ground and bam, hit him in the chest. Or, oh, I got to kind of go it in between. Like, I got to drive it, but there's one guy underneath. I got to make sure I drop it over. Okay, bam, I got that. Oh, this time I got to really throw a high touch ball to where he can just run under and get it. You know, he can do all of those, and that's really what makes him really awesome.
Okay, since I requested that we do Matt Stafford today, we're going to give you Aaron Rodgers. We're going to give you like a couple minutes here. Aaron Rodgers pouring to talk about his 45-yard touchdown to Davante Adams.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I figured it's only fair. If we're going to talk about Matt Stafford, I'll give you...
Oh, the Aaron Rodgers.
I'll tip my hat to Aaron Rodgers here.
I mean, yeah.
This one, my amateur view of it is that the Texans had... like. Adams off the line makes a move, and who was covering him there?
It's a Murray, 23.
Eric Murray.
Right.
Adams, and he's up on him. Like, it's almost like he's bump and run.
Yeah.
On this 45-yard touchdown that we're about to break down to Davante Adams from Aaron Rodgers. He does not bump him. I don't think he got a finger on him, and Adams makes one, like, move like he's going to run over the middle of the field, and it like, goes around him after that. It's fun to watch. If you want to go look at the play, watch Adams. It's like how quickly he is open.
He is amazing at the line of scrimmage, right? How he can just like his feet and those little shaking get, and then he's even though he's not like a burner, he's a good accelerator. But like, it is fun to watch, and it's also funny because you're like, what the hell are the Texans doing? Wait, did Eric Murray become Darrelle Revis this week all of a sudden? Like, that would be the first thing I would say about the whole game. Like, what was the Texans thinking? I don't know. They matched up him, Hargraves, and Phillip Gaines one-on-one. Like they were shut down island corners. And I want to be like, wait, there's a reason these guys are on all these different teams because they can't cover. And now you're going to let them cover the best receiver on the field on Sunday, man-to-man, and just have no help? That play was a joke, all right? Adams is in the slot. It's man-to-man press coverage. He's going to run that little slot fade route down the sideline. There's a receiver right on the outside of him who runs like a 5-yard go route. They're playing man-to-man like they were for the majority of the day.
But they did have a free safety.
They did have a free safety.
And if you watch Rodgers, he looks over to the left of the field.
Of course.
Packers had no receivers that were running over to the left side of the field.
No, he had the two receivers on the left were actually running across the field to where Davante Adams was.
Yeah.
But all Rodgers wanted to do, because he goes, wait. He's sitting at the, blue 45. He's sitting there. He's like, wait, 23 Murray is man-to-man on Davante Adams, bump and run, and I got this route? And then so he already knows, okay, I got it. All right, there's the safety. Let me just keep him there. If I can just keep him there, it's going to be a big play. And that's what he does. Yeah, he just sells it. You're right. There's nothing receiver-wise to make the safety pause. But because he looks so aggressively, the safety stays there, takes a few steps, and that leaves it wide open for Adams, who's got Murray beat at that point by, 4 or 5 yards, right? I mean, Rodgers doesn't even throw an on-point ball. Adams kind of has to turn and catch it because Rodgers is a little careful with it because he knows he's so open. And Adams does a great job of kind of backpedaling, put his foot in the ground, change direction, score a touchdown. That was the game in a nutshell. That's really, if you just want to know what happened, it was a lot of bad Texans defense, a lot of stupid man-to-man, a lot of stupid 5-man blitzes, a lot of my pet peeve of, oh, we blitzed the middle linebacker. We still didn't get pressure, but, oh, we voided this huge area. And Rodgers got to throw a shallow cross to Davante Adams, a shallow cross to Davante Adams, a shallow cross to the back. I mean, all game long. It was a perfect matchup for the Packers that way on their offensive side of the ball. I thought the game would be closer because I thought Houston would be able to move the ball on Green Bay's defense. But nonetheless, Rodgers was on point. The pass game was on point. And when he plays defenses like that who play like man-to-man and they start to overdo it, he gets them in the right play every time. And then when they don't have pass rushers, when a team doesn't have pass rushers, he just exposes you because he'll dance and buy a little time when nobody is open, and then somebody does get open and you're done.
We've got breaking news.
What?
It's a rumor. It's nothing official.
It's a rumor.
It's a rumor, but it's newsworthy.
Carlos Dunlap got traded to the Seahawks.
No.
Okay.
No. Oh, and I just lost it. Pete, put it in a rundown here. Hold on. I got it, Pete. All right, hold on.
I'm not hearing you in my ear, just so anybody knows,
Pete,
too.
Chris has turned you down. He does it from time to time.
I hear Pete.
Don't take it personally.
I'm not hearing you in my ear.
Oh, yeah, I don't hear you either.
Oh, okay.
But I'm hearing you here.
Yeah, right, we're
that's
here.
Good enough.
Okay.
In the
Hurry
past
up.
hour.
You sound like me. Let me look through my notes one more time.
Is there one more thing here? In the past hour, a Texans beat writer from The Athletic, that's Aaron Reese,
right,
says the Packers among teams asking about Will Fuller.
Ooh, that would make sense. Yes. I mean, that would be a great fit for them. That's the kind of guy they need. Texans.
They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. They're actually, this is the start. They have to rebuild almost to a degree. They have so many holes to fill on their team.
Well, they don't even have draft picks.
No, I know. They got issues. This is why they probably got to start thinking about this a little bit. Yeah. And just going, you know what? We're not horrible at receiver. Fuller's coming to the point where we might have to pay him big money. We might lose him after this year anyways. So let's see if we can get something for him and help our football team. And the Packers would be one of those teams. I mean, the Packers need it. Again, we talked about them and not being a complete team. They're not going to beat the Bucs ever unless they get some more firepower out there and just maybe, okay, Bucs score, we can match it and keep scoring back with them.
Okay. All right. So then we'll see if that happens. Wow. Breaking rumors.
But that's the rumor that they're one of the teams that have been acquired.
One of the teams.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see. Last quarterback we're going to look at before we get to the Trevor Lawrence top pick power rankings.
Yeah.
So we can look at teams who might get the best quarterback in college right now. Matthew Stafford.
Oh, baby.
This was so fun to watch. I was with my family. I was watching on Red Zone. They cut to that game a lot with the last drive. I was standing up. My kids are like, why does he care so much about this? They don't understand it yet. But it was cool.
I love that you're diehard for them, though. I love it.
Still. I mean, it's like they get the juices flowing for me still.
Good.
I don't know them as intimately as I used to because now we cover all the teams right there.
Right.
So you don't know 100% about each team, but
they're still your pride.
They're my guys.
Yeah.
And Matthew Stafford, as I've told you before, my second favorite football player of all time behind Barry Sanders. And if you want to know why people say that, all you have to do is watch that final drive. Because it is Matt Stafford doing Matt Stafford things.
It's
like the team has been not good around him for so long, but he is able to create. He's like what you talk about so many times. It's like, if there's nothing there, can your quarterback make a play?
Exactly right.
And he did that on this drive where he would scramble away from pressure. He would find receivers. He would go sidearm. He would do all those different things. And he brought them back in the fourth quarter once again. I mean, when I made you go back and look at this, it was probably like, thank you, Ahmed, for doing that because he is awesome to watch.
No. You know what? Detroit's one of those teams, though, that I haven't looked at real closely in a few weeks to where I was like, okay, that's cool. And you know what? We need to give him love. First off, he's like one of the more underappreciated quarterbacks of our generation,
yes.
and it's not because of him. Like you said, the talent is real. It's a lot on his shoulders his whole career with no help around him, no running game, nothing really, no great defense to speak of. It's always been about Matt Stafford has to make plays. And I know it hasn't always been perfect, but it's not going to be perfect when, you're around crap a lot in your career. And to your point, as far as making plays when nothing's there to be had, yes, he's been one of the best in football in the last 10 years. The drive starts out with the only man-to-man coverage of the drive. Atlanta plays man-to-man. They acted like they were going to bring that double A-gap blitz. They dropped out the two linebackers. Everybody else playing man-to-man. Throws the ball along the sidelines to Galladay, and it's incomplete. All right? So you go, oh, okay, man, is Atlanta going to challenge him a little bit on this drive, or are they going to, I thought they were going to play prevent. All right, well, I was wrong. They went back to prevent the next play. And they play Tampa 2 the very next play, and they're so far off. He throws a hitch route for 12 yards, first down. They come up, they spike the ball, bam. All right, next play. It's Tampa 2 again. All right, here we go. He drops back, and they're lining up in it. To where that's where, again, I just want to go, man, do something to make a guy like Stafford think a little. But it's Tampa 2. They got the perfect play. Again, he moves out of the pocket to the left. He hits Galladay for about I think it was Galladay. I want to make sure. Maybe it wasn't Galladay.
Could have been Amendola.
I think it was Amendola. You're right. Yeah. Sorry. It's Amendola. Hits him. But typical Stafford-type play. Scrambles to the left, sets up, and throws the ball, sidearm like this as he's going the other way. I mean, perfect. And a strike. I mean, it really was. Maybe a hair high, but still a great throw. All right, that's the big play you needed. They're going to have to spike the ball, but now they've made themselves within striking distance because they're on the other team's 40-yard line. And you're going, ooh, okay, man, Stafford one more big throw, and they're going to be close, and we know he can make big throws. So they spike the ball, and now comes the play of the plays, right? It's 2 receivers to the right, 2 receivers to the left, shotgun. Guess what coverage it is?
Tampa 2.
Oh, of course. And Tampa 2, Golladay down, running down the left seam, and he's got a little pressure, but it doesn't matter. Somebody's in his face. Like, Matt Stafford can still throw the ball 40 yards with somebody in his face. He throws a ball, first off, that's on point.
Perfect.
And then Golladay gets run over before the ball gets there. There's no pass interference call. They call pass interference on every game all over the NFL all day long. Like, oh, you illegally blew in his ear, pass interference. Now the safety runs over a receiver, and they don't call it. I don't understand that. How he catches this ball, I don't understand.
It made me very angry because in reviewing them, if he caught it or not, this is how you think as a Lions fan.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, they're going to say he didn't catch it. But in watching all those replays,
you're going to go, that was so clearly pass interference. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we should have thrown the flag, but we didn't. And
I mean,
now we're taking away the catch.
That was ridiculous. You know, that was one where I look at I want to look at, referees and go, I know you're trying not to influence the game, but that's so egregious. Like, you can't let that go just because it's the end of the game. You can't let a safety just run over a receiver. He catches the ball with his feet off the ground. I mean, that's the amazing part of it. So they get it down there.
Well, yeah, he caught it at the 8, too.
He caught it at the 8.
And they move it back to the 11.
Like, what was that about?
They just messed up.
I mean, what was going on here?
This is what it happens when you're a Lion. That's what happened.
I guess you're right.
I will say this. Who knows? Maybe it worked out. Maybe it gave him a little more room
to
operate down there.
So now we get to that final play. Here we go. And they spike the ball, all that, but now it's the final play. It's empty formation, 3 receivers to the right. The play is for Hockenson all along. Now, I know it ends up to Hockenson, but not the way they intended it. Atlanta finally gets out of Tampa 2, and they decide to play cover 3. So they got like 8 guys across. They have like a switch release by the tight ends, the 2 tight ends. One guy goes up vertical, Hockenson goes behind and outside, and then really what they're trying to do is with that first tight end through, they're trying to clear it out to where now he's going to sneak behind him, right? Because they're going to go with that first guy, and then Stafford's going to throw it right on him as he gets into the end zone, right? It's kind of like, hey, get this guy to move the coverage back a little. We're going to sneak you behind him and smash it on him. Well, Atlanta does a good job covering it. They don't bite on, like, the first guy through. They're ready for Hockenson, and then he has pressure. And I give him a lot of credit for holding onto the football because this is like a play like Russell Wilson against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. You don't always get to sit there and read it out. It's so bam. You got to be like, wait, I think we got the look. It looks good. Yeah. And then sometimes it could be like, oh, no, it's not the look as the ball is like leaving your hand. So he pulls it down because, one, I think he sees the coverage and he realizes somebody's all around him and he might not be able to get an accurate throw. And then he does his thing that he always does. Runs to the left and does his old that we talked about earlier in the drive. Kind of the hop, skip, and a sidearm throw, and perfect and good for him and Matty Patricia and all them. I'm glad they won the game.
And then they get the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty to make it a 47-yard extra point.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Insane.
Which, again, I was like, as a Lions fan, you're like, where will it go wrong?
Right.
And so when they scored and got the flag, I was like, they assessed that on the kickoff, right? Like there is no kickoff. That's going to be on the extra point, isn't it?
Not my man Prater, though. He doesn't buckle. Prater's the man. And he really, being a teammate of his in Denver, he relishes that.
He does.
He is not scared one. He's actually a guy, I mean, he loves it. He loves to be able to walk into the locker room the next day with like his chest like I'm the man. I know I'm a kicker, but I'm the man. He's cool that way.
This is the legacy of the Lions. Barry Sanders, Matt Stafford, and kickers. Eddie Murray, Jason Hanson, Matt Prater. They've had really good kickers.
You're right. They have. That might be the 3 strongest things going for your franchise.
Really are.
Yeah.
That was really fun to watch, and that was fun to relive.
Good.
Right there. And the Lions, their schedule is not bad.
No, it's
upcoming
not.
Here.
No, it's not. That's why they make the trade for Everson Griffin. They know they need a pass rush. But you're right. Like, read out the schedule. They can win, 4 out of their next 5? I mean, I remember looking at it last night.
Yeah.
But they got a chance. I'll pull it up before you. I'm going to beat you.
By the way, and Pete reminds me, I did pick them to make the playoffs.
Oh, baby, yeah. They got the Colts this week, which will be tough.
Yeah.
But then the Vikings, the football team, the Panthers, the Texans, the Bears, who they should have already beat this year.
Beat them.
You look at that right there, and you go, I don't think it's crazy to think they win 4 out of 6, maybe 5 out of 6.
They're at least still around 500.
There is. Nobody is outmatching them there to where I just go, oh, they're in trouble here. I mean, every game I would expect to be somewhat close there.
Well, and it's like the only game they lost in a blowout was the Packers.
Right.
The Packers blew them out. The Saints game, they were up a couple touchdowns.
Definitely.
Saints came back, but still that was kind of close. And Cardinals, they came back and won. So it's like they've been in most of the games, even though those games that they're not. When they're playing bad, it looks bad.
Well, even in the Packers game, it wasn't. Yeah, the defense got torched by Rodgers early. You feel like they're going to hang around in the game. Stafford threw the pick 6 when they were backed up, right? He got tricked there.
Yeah.
And that kind of just made it insurmountable. To where if it didn't go much more than that, I would have gone, Detroit will make a run here. They'll make this interesting. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go. I don't think they're a playoff football team, but I do think they'll stay in the conversation throughout the year to where, last few weeks we might go, oh, if this team loses, one of their last 2 or 2 in a row, maybe the Lions can get in.
Stafford has 30 fourth-quarter comebacks since entering the league in 2009, the most in the NFL. Most in the NFL.
He sucks! He sucks!
The last time that Stafford threw a game-winning touchdown on the final play of regulation was actually his first career fourth-quarter comeback in 2009. Who was that game against? Chris, who never forgets a moment.
I know. I'm disappointed.
It's a long time ago.
It is, I know, but I'm usually pretty good about this. But 2009. Let's see. 2009.
2009, final play of the game.
Gosh. Well, I'll just go with the Vikings, but I have no
Browns.
idea. The Browns, huh?
It was a pass to Brandon Pettigrew.
Ooh,
Brandon
I
Pettigrew.
do. Name from the past there.
So they win, and what that does do, unfortunately, for the Lions is that does remove them from my Trevor Lawrence top pick power rankings. So
you got your quarterback. His name's Matt Stafford.
Exactly.
I know.
Exactly. The only reason that I would maybe entertain the idea of Trevor Lawrence is like, okay, it's a new era. It's time to start anew.
I understand that. That's fair. That's a fair assessment. I get it.
You're right. He's too fun to watch. So here we go. So I'm going to go. We have 2 new teams, by the way, in the top 5. Last time we did this was 2 weeks ago. And so there are 2 teams that have shown me something.
Yeah.
They've shown me that they're ready to compete.
They're ready?
They want this number 1
Or
pick.
not compete?
Or not compete. Yeah, they want this number 1 pick. They want to have the option of drafting Trevor Lawrence. I don't know that they will.
Right.
But they want that option or at least be able to trade that pick. Number 5, a new entrant. I'm putting the Denver Broncos in here.
Okay.
Just lost to the Chiefs. Their wins don't look that great right now. Beat New England. Beat the Jets. I'm taking a little bit of a leap on them.
Yeah.
A leap of faith here.
Yeah, I don't agree with you on that one, but that's cool.
I'm a little leap of faith here. I can see how maybe they're trying to get up there to the top. I don't know that it's all going to work out. It's a 1-week thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a 1-week trial. If they disappoint me against the Chargers up next, I'll drop them right off.
Okay.
So if they play well,
be careful about messing with the Broncos. They'll kick your butt on
They
Twitter.
will, yeah, on social media. Although I haven't heard much from them this week.
Oh, no, really? I wonder why.
Yeah,
I wonder why you haven't heard
anything.
anything. Really, yes.
Number 4,
Yeah.
staying steady. They were number 4 2 weeks ago. The Giants. A little dicey.
Yeah.
They had that game in hand against the Eagles, but they lost it, and that's ultimately what you have to do. You have to lose it. Pete thinks they're too low. He wants them to be higher there. Number 3 is a new entrant as well.
Ooh.
And it's another team from the NFC East. I'm putting the Cowboys at number 3. I am legitimately putting the Cowboys at number 3 just to show how much faith I have that they
will be horrible.
They will be horrible, and they might not win a game the rest of the year.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know how long Andy Dalton's going to be out.
Yeah.
It's like they still have offensive talent, but we've seen how lack of quarterback play can totally derail everything.
Definitely. Well, again, the only thing I'll say, the silver lining in all of this to me is just the fact that the mouth breathers of the world and some of them who were disrespecting Dak Prescott, I think they're going to finally say, oh, well, maybe he was better than we thought. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Instead of being like, wow, Dak only made him 8-8.
He's not Mahomes.
He only made him 8-8, 9-7. Be like, wow, Dak made this team 9-7. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Exactly.
And if you're the Cowboys, this is a good time to start a run too. Like if you're going to make a run for the number 1 pick now, week 7, it's like now is the time to do it.
Yep.
So I give them credit for that. Number 2 was the team that was 5 last time, Jaguars. 30th ranked defense for the Jaguars. I think there's issues at quarterback. There's issues on offense.
Yep, they're going to a quarterback because the way it looks right now.
They're making a significant run. Of all the teams, they've made the biggest leap.
The biggest jump here.
That's a good jump for the Jaguars. But number one still soundly the Jets.
Of course it is.
And it's not all that close.
I don't think it is either. Yes.
Will it get closer? I hope so to add a little intrigue into this whole thing. But as of right now, the Jets are a solid number one. So that means the Falcons were not in there.
Right.
I still don't trust Matt Ryan and Julio.
How dare they be clutch and explosive?
Not to be good. Vikings, I didn't move in. You can't move in on a bye. You know, it's like you can't get the starting job after an injury. Like after a bye, no, you can't move in. And the Bengals I didn't want to put in, too, because Joe Burrow's too scary.
Yeah.
Like, I think Joe Burrow's going to win a couple games just by himself.
He is.
So
he definitely is. Yeah, they got it going a little bit there.
And the football team?
Yeah.
Defense is too good.
Defense is too good. Yeah.
That's a red flag in this. You can't have a top 5 defense and be in these rankings.
I'm not allowed. I would think that Washington wins a few more games anyways. Yeah. I would. Through their defense, and Kyle Allen will make a play here and there. Terry McLaurin's really special. Antonio Gibson at running back, man.
Yes.
Really good, too.
Yeah, really under the radar kind of guy, but he's looking like one of the best rookie running backs out there. All right, final segment of the show is where we create the super team.
I'm ready.
Time to create the super team in the NFC West. But first, real quick, a couple reactions
to your NFC
East team.
Okay.
Because there were some clapbacks.
Yeah, I saw a few.
Hawks 767 says Darius Slayton over CeeDee Lamb is criminal. He says it's criminals. We're showing the offense and defense there. And I had a couple people say that they questioned why I would have Darius Slayton on
Darius
this team.
Slay, you mean?
No, Darius Slayton.
Oh, Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I don't think that's crazy. Okay? First off, CeeDee Lamb's really good. No doubt about it. Not trying to disrespect him or anything like that. But Darius Slayton is an awesome football player. I mean, he's the go-to wide receiver on the Giants. And, again, if he was in Dallas, all right, and had that team around him with Dak Prescott and everything like that, it would look a lot better. The stats would be a whole lot better. So I don't think that's totally egregious, and I think you can certainly, the problem is CeeDee Lamb came from Oklahoma and all that stuff, so people see that and they just go, he's got to be better. But Slayton's really explosive. He's more explosive than CeeDee Lamb. And I'm just looking at their stats because I'm just thinking of this here. But, 27 receptions for 429 yards for Darius Slayton, okay? And then for CeeDee Lamb, it's 53 receptions for 583 yards. So less yards per catch. He's got less touchdowns. I'm wrong. I'm reading the wrong guy. Sorry. Lamb is 36 receptions for 497. So, yes, it's all less than Slayton, and it's a lesser offense. And he is the only go-to receiver they got. So I don't think you're crazy there. I'm fine with that. We wanted to
give some love to him because, he's under the radar.
Stumbling there.
And there was difference of opinion. This is from Chris Green, says, that would be the most talented team in football. It's a bad division, but let's not get too crazy now. While Rick Mick 44 says they'd go 6-10.
No, so I think it still would be the best team in football.
We do, but we did both agree that they might go 12-4. And they could possibly be bounced in the playoffs. we don't think
it wasn't as impressive as we were expecting.
It's not a guarantee that team's going to win the Super Bowl. That's not a guarantee. You wouldn't.
I would hope they would.
Okay.
I would have a hard time thinking.
I
would have a hard time thinking they're going to win the Super Bowl of the division super teams here that we're going to go through.
Yeah. So this team should win the Super Bowl then, because we're about to do the NFC West. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Because this came from Chip Langan. He said a division that needs 4 rosters to make up maybe one playoff team speaks volumes. Try this with any other division, and you'll come up with much better. So we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to take your suggestion, Chip, and we're going to do that. So here's the NFC West offense. We'll see what you disagree with. Russell Wilson's our quarterback.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yep.
Running back, I went with Chris Carson from Seattle as well.
Okay.
Mostert's hurt right now, so
I know.
That's why I can't put him in
I hear you. That's okay. Let's go Chris Carson.
Wide receivers, 3 of them. DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf.
No. Well, I'm with you with Hopkins and DK Metcalf.
Ooh, Lockett, you're not totally sold
I got no problem with it. I would have had to sit and think about him and Robert Woods.
Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, maybe even Cooper Kupp in that conversation too. Yeah, I don't know what I'd do there.
It's close.
Yes, it is close. I probably would have gone with a Woods or a Kupp over a Lockett. But I'm not mad at you there. That's fine.
Tight end, George Kittle. That was the easiest one I've done. Offensive line here. Ben Garland, center for the 49ers.
All right.
Wasn't really one that stood out.
No, there's not a center out in the NFC West that's anything special. That's for sure. Keep going.
My guards.
Yeah.
Laken Tomlinson.
Definitely.
For the 49ers.
Right.
And then there wasn't a ton here. There was Justin Pugh, but he's not having a great year for the Cardinals.
No.
Damian Lewis is who I went with.
I was going to say, I mean, I think that's a decent one.
Yeah, Damian Lewis, rookie out of Seattle. He's
pretty
LSU,
damn good.
So I'm going with him. He's the other guard. Tackles are amazing. Like, we almost should move a tackle to guard, but we can't do that.
No, we're trying to stay real here.
Trent Williams,
right?
I'm going with, and Andrew Whitworth.
I don't.
Dwayne Brown. Close.
I know,
but I had to choose one. I had to choose Whitworth or Brown.
So you're going to put Whitworth at left tackle, and then Trent Williams at right, or the other way around?
Yes, that's my rules. I can take you. I can switch from one tackle to the other.
I was wondering where you'd go there. I have no idea, who's graded higher on the. I mean, Whitworth is still an unbelievable pass protector. You do?
Pro Football Focus has Trent Williams, the number 3 tackle in all of football.
Well, I mean, yeah.
They have Whitworth as number 4, so right behind him.
Okay, so he's that high.
Dwayne Brown at 6.
Okay, so that's some damn good tackles. Where's McGlinchey at as far as his play?
A little farther down. Yeah.
But yeah, that speaks to. I mean, listen, Trent Williams is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I've been saying that for a while. He's truly special, and he can do everything. So I get it. And I got no problem with Whitworth either. I'd probably go Dwayne Brown.
You would?
I probably would, but I'm not mad at you for Whitworth. I think Dwayne Brown, what I like about him, just maybe a little more power, like run blocking and things like that. Whitworth is a good run blocker, but he kind of does it more through being crafty and I've gotten in your way, not going to always blow you off the ball.
He was more for leadership. I needed like a leader on that defense. Trent Williams and Whitworth are good leaders.
The guards are what's crazy. Did any of the Rams guards grade out good or any of them?
I think maybe they did, but it was kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, I mean, Tomlinson was clearly on the team for sure.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Lewis graded out well, according to Pro Football Focus. So there's the offense. On the defensive side, defensive tackle, I'm going to go with Aaron Donald. I'm going to put him on this team.
Man, you're going on a limb there.
I'm going to put him here. The other defensive tackle was kind of hard to find one.
Okay.
I ended up going with former Longhorn, Poona Ford.
Ooh, Poona Ford. All right, I think you should take Jerron Reed. I would take Jerron Reed. I don't know where he's graded again, but Jerron Reed's the best defensive tackle on their football team. Okay. They would tell you that. He's their best front 7 player right now. And I would think at times it's hard to tell if he did the right thing or not. They ask him sometimes to 2-gap and do different things. This is where I get into it with certain grading people at times because I'll know a rule of a defense or an offense and, look at something. They tell me they've been downgraded, and I go, but he's doing his rule. You're giving him a bad grade, but his coach is not.
Interesting.
His coach is going to give him a positive.
Poona Ford's been playing okay, though, right? Has he?
He has.
That's the most egregious one you've seen so far.
I think I would go Jerron Reed clearly there. I was even going to wonder if you might go like Michael Brockers and move him inside a defensive tackle, somebody like that. But no, that's fine. Right. Fine, it's your team.
Well, it's my team.
So,
so
me.
And Ford is a good team guy, I feel like. I actually don't know anything about him. Eric Armstead is my edge guy.
Yes.
And I've also got Kerry Hyder as my edge guy.
I got you there. I mean, Kerry Hyder's really damn good. Only thing I would say was I would rather go with. All right, so Chandler Jones, we're not picking him because he's hurt, right?
Right.
So.
Right.
But yeah, so man, it stinks you miss Nick Bosa too. But other guy I would think about is Leonard Floyd. I don't know again what his grades are. But they're and he's probably listed as a linebacker, but
maybe
depending on what you're looking at. That would be a guy that would jump out to me. But go ahead, it's your team.
Right. This was always going to be more difficult because of all the talent on all the teams. That's why I like that there's these difficult decisions because I think at times the NFC East was too easy. It was like we had one, and then it was like we don't really even have another.
This is not even a discussion.
We don't have another linebacker. I gave this team 3 linebackers. I gave the other team the 3 corners.
Yeah.
I gave this team 3 linebackers. I don't know where they're going to play necessarily. That's the coach's job.
Yeah.
I just fill up the team. We're going Fred Warner. We're going Bobby Wagner. We're going KJ Wright. All on this team.
I don't think I think you're good there. I'm just trying to think. The linebackers in Arizona, no, not going to put any there. The 49ers ones, the only one I again would challenge you with is the other
Trey Green.
Greenlaw. Yeah, I would maybe him, but I got no problem with that. The Rams, No, there's nobody that jumps out there. So I think that's probably the one. Over KJ, I would probably go Dre Greenlaw over KJ Wright.
You would?
I probably would. Yes. But I got no issue with that.
So I went with 3 linebackers just because I didn't find a ton of great corners.
No,
so we got
not.
Jalen Ramsey.
Of course.
We'll throw him there. But then the guy who's having the best year of any of the corners, number 4 in football, according to Pro Football Focus, Jason Verrett for the 49ers.
If he can stay healthy,
I put him on there, and I really didn't see where, who else really knocks you down?
Patrick Peterson.
Not great.
It was very bad early last week. The last 2 weeks have been a little bit better. Last week was one of his best games of the year. Yeah. But I hear you there. You go through, the Rams have some young guys that are good, but I don't think of that caliber. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. I do like the Quentin Dunbar kid up in Seattle. He's been hurt. I do think he has talent. He's the only guy that can cover anybody up there, but yeah, I think all in all, even when he's at his healthiest, he's not as good as a Jason Verrett.
And the strong safety, Jamal Adams. Free safety, Budda Baker.
Yeah, that's a slam dunk.
Those are easy.
Slam dunk.
So I'm looking at it. I had 1 Cardinal on defense, Budda Baker, 1 on offense, DeAndre Hopkins. I had only a couple of Rams on defense, Ramsey and Donald.
Yeah.
And I had only Whitworth for the Rams on offense. Everyone else was either a Seahawk or a 49er, and a couple of the ones that you quibbled with was between a Seahawk and a 49er,
yeah,
right?
It was.
At least with Greenlaw.
It was.
So here's the team. Here's my team right here.
Yeah,
and
pretty good.
That's an all-star team from the best conference in football.
Yeah, well, what stinks too is you got a Kyler Murray, and he doesn't get to get on the field because he got Russell Wilson. So there's a lot of guys that get left off that are really good. I think the thing that jumps out to me is lack of corners, lack of D tackles. I think you're really wrong with the Poona Ford one. Like I've said, I'd rather go with the, Jerron Reed, even the DJ Jones and the 49ers, one of those. But okay, it's like you said, it's your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all right. It's cool. It's a damn good team. That offense is
good.
Going to be rough to
deal
with.
If Richard Sherman was healthy, you'd put him on this team?
I probably would. Yes, I would. Over a Verrett. Verrett is special, but he got hurt again last week, and I don't even know, Pete. Do you know what the final verdict was on him? He kind of make a cut, and then I don't know what happened there.
I might have to dip into another corner here.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I wonder, we all think this is the best division in football. I wonder if this will be the best team, though. It's it seems like offensively it's really solid.
You're going to have some other divisions that I think are going to be really impressive.
Yeah.
I still think I'm looking to the forward. Where are you going to go next? What's the next team you're going to do?
It's open. Who knows?
AFC North, just off the top of my head, I don't know if you got enough roster spots for all the studs they got in that division.
Yeah.
What the hell are you going to do? You're going to be leaving all pros off of some defensive spots. So I look at that. The NFC South, I just think of that. Man, there'll be some studs on that group too. This will be interesting. I think it's a cool exercise.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, maybe the
NFC West would beat the NFC East. I know that.
They would. So far, we should rank them. Yeah, so far it's 1 NFC West, 2
NFC East.
NFC East.
I agree.
Okay.
Yes. I'm taking the NFC West all day in that one.
All right. That was
all right, good one.
That was a lot of meat on the bone.
A lot of meat.
We ate it, and then we put the bone in our mouth and got the rest of the meat off that way.
That's good. That's a great analogy. Man, right? You are deep.
It's like a chicken wing.
Hopefully all you are full out there now. Full of football knowledge.
Yeah.
You the man?
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
You the man as well.
Thank you. And you'll be back next week. I'm not sure which day, Monday or Wednesday.
No, I don't think I will be.
You're leaving us totally next week?
Cup horse racing, 14 championship races on the family of NBC network.
All right, that's cool. Good for you. You're big time, you horse's ass. All right, that's it. So Ahmed Fareed won't be back for 2 weeks, but he is still the man nonetheless. He looks good in his blue shirt today.
But when I come back, the Jets will still be #1 in the Trevor Lawrence Power Rankings.
I don't doubt that. Well, you could take a month off and you'll still be #1. That's it. Thursday, PFTPM, Chris Simms Unbuttoned collaboration, the Joint Picks podcast. Check us out. Me and Florio had a pretty good last week. My best bets weren't the best, but I'm on the right track of picking games. Listen to my information. I'm not Johnny the Shark. I don't know how to bet, but take my information and then you figure out how to bet. That's it. Peace out. Say bye-bye. And cough it up. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.